Hello, Facebook. Hello, everyone tuning in for Doe for Degrees Scholarship Quick Start. Doe for Degrees 2019 Scholarship Success Series. This is the last video of the series, the last Facebook Live of the series, where we teach students how to prepare to go to college and graduate debt-free. We've covered every level. We've covered the undergraduate college student, the high school senior, the high school sophomore, high school junior, and today we're covering the high school freshman. And so the goal is to give you tips, give you advice, and give you knowledge to help you prepare to go to college and graduate debt-free. The rules are the same as always. If you can't hear me, please let me know. If you have trouble seeing me, please let me know. I'll work on the connection. And last but not least, also drop any questions or concerns you have in the comments below. We're keeping this one short and sweet once again. It's going to be very simple, nothing crazy, but just to give you some tips and information, I will introduce myself. My name is Danielle Jeffers. I'm the founder of Doe for Degrees, LLC. Doe for Degrees is a scholarship coaching company that teaches students how to earn scholarships to go to college and graduate debt-free. I earned more than $200,000 in scholarships as a student. I've earned more than $200,000 in scholarships as a student, and I will graduate debt-free from Virginia Tech on May 17, 2019. So I did this series this year as a way to give back, as a way to educate parents and students and people who want to know what they need to do to prepare to go to college, but most importantly, to prepare to go to college and graduate debt-free. I told my story. In this series, I've discussed basically what I went through at each stage as a student to earn scholarships, to excel in the classroom, to find the funding I needed, and to be able to have a great college experience at the same time. Because when you are in a position where you know you will need outside scholarships, so you know you need grants, or you know you need funding to be able to go to college and get your education because your parents can't come out of their pocket and pay for it, it puts you in a difficult situation. Because you have to decide whether you're going to take out loans, which is the easy route up front because all you do is click a button or sign your name on a piece of paper. And if you're required to, watch a course to tell you a little bit about how loans work. But it may not make sense when you watch it. Or you are willing to sacrifice some time, put in some effort, dedicate yourself to improving and finding the funds you need through scholarships, through grants, and any other method that doesn't require you to go into debt. And I encourage students to take that route. Though it is harder, though it was more time consuming, though it requires you to be more persistent and diligent, it's worth it. Because you're only going to get better as a result of the effort and the work you put in. So that's way better than taking out loans that accrue interest and requires you to pay them back, pay even more than you took them originally out for. So once again, if you took out a loan for like $6,000 and it has an interest rate that's gaining $9 in interest a day, that loan could be $25,000 before you know it. So this is the final episode in the series, and it's focused on high school freshmen. I don't see any questions, comments, or concerns yet. As always, if you can't hear me, please let me know. But I want to give you all some tips for high school freshmen to help you all prepare to go to college and graduate debt-free. I'll give you some tips briefly. Let's see, how many do I want to give today? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'll give you 5 tips today. 5 tips to help high school freshmen prepare to go to college and graduate debt-free. The first thing I would tell you is to mature quickly. Mature quickly. Like, as a high school freshman, I know you're coming straight out of middle school. I know your maturity level is not that high. You're still young. You don't know everything. You're still learning. But what you have to understand is that once you cross that threshold and you identify as a 9th grader, as a high school student, it's your first year in high school, the school tracks everything you do, from your academic performance, your absences, your tardies, your disciplinary record. Everything that you do as a high school student is tracked. And when you apply to colleges, they're going to look at your record and to see what that says about you. Did you have a good academic performance? Were you well behaved? Were you on time? And that may factor into your ability to get accepted or denied or waitlisted into the college of your choice. And so once again, when you get into high school, everything you do is tracked. And I know people need time to grow. I know people need time to mature. But habits speak more of you than trying to rapidly do something in a short amount of time. So if you build those habits in middle school and as a younger student, that's well behaved, that studies and prepares well for tests, and is active in the classroom, is always curious and chasing their best, constantly doing their best, constantly seeking ways to improve, those habits will carry you in high school, and it will definitely carry you in college. And so once again, I'll say the first tip for high school freshmen is to mature quickly. Mature quickly. Figure out what your weaknesses are. Do you not enjoy science, and do you wait till the last minute to study for tests? That's a weakness. That's an area of improvement. And so what you have to do is reorganize your thought process about science and say, hey, I may not be good at it, I may not like it, but I need to adjust and perform better in this subject. And I would tell you this too, because I've watched quite a few videos on this recently, and I'm starting to understand how students think about this more, is if you're interested in entrepreneurship, or if you're interested in something that's not parallel to the classroom, and the classroom doesn't really have your interest, it's not an excuse, or it doesn't give you a pass to perform poorly in the classroom. So for me, I was interested in entrepreneurship in college. I was interested in it in high school too, but I didn't really do it that much in high school. But in college, I was headstrong and I was really focused. And there were times when I was so focused on growing the company that I wasn't as interested in doing as well in school. Just because I wasn't interested, it doesn't mean that it gives me a pass to perform poorly. It didn't give me a pass for several reasons. One, because I'd already made a commitment. I made a commitment to go to college, finish, and graduate debt-free, and also retain my scholarships before I even started Dough for Degrees. My commitment always comes first. Second, I also was aware that I just couldn't do it. Like, I had set an example. I set a standard for myself to always do well at everything I did. That doesn't mean I was perfect. Like, I'm nowhere near perfect, but I wanted to do well. I wanted to operate in excellence. And I set a standard for myself, and that was all across the board. That didn't just mean in the area that I personally enjoy the most, or the area that I believe was best for me. It was in every area, in the classroom, in behavior, in business, in extracurricular activities, and everything. There was a standard that I set for myself. And so what I want you to know is that you have a commitment as a student to go to class. You have a commitment as a student to do well. And so your commitment always has to come first. It always has to come before basketball. It always has to come before sports, in anything that has your attention. Because what I will tell you too is, if you choose to be alert in everything you do and to always do your best, that will carry you a whole lot further than only putting your energy into things that really have your attention. So mature quickly. Realize that you're going to have to do some things you don't enjoy, and then if you learn from them and you take knowledge and lessons that you've learned in that situation, apply it elsewhere, it's worth it. So mature quickly. Track your community service hours. We talked about this last time. Download our April 2018 scholarship newsletter. Once again, I'll say download Dough for Degrees April 2018 scholarship newsletter on our website. It includes a community service log where you can go in, print that community service log, and track your community service hours. It is extremely important that as a student you track your community service hours, because scholarships ask, how many hours of community service have you done, or have you done any community service? And you don't want to forge a number. Why not be as accurate as possible? But there also are ways where you can get a letter to state that you've done X amount of hours of community service from an organization when you didn't track it. And that's another option too, but it's best just to track it up front. Tip number 3, and as always, drop any questions, comments, or concerns you have in the comment section below. Tip number 3, set your GPA goals and identify your desires for the next 4 years. I think as a high school freshman, you have a unique opportunity to determine what you want to do and how you want to perform over the course of your high school career. You can come into the gate strong and say, hey, while I'm a high school student, I'm going to maintain a 3.5 GPA. That is your goal. That's your commitment to yourself, to maintain a 3.5 GPA. To be honest with you, that is the GPA I recommend students maintain if they want to apply for scholarships. Now, what if you have lower than a 3.5 GPA? Okay, be honest with yourself. I'm not at the level that I could be at, but if I put in the work and improve, it will get better. So put in the work, improve, and the results will speak for themselves if you have a 3.5 or higher. To be honest with you, scholarship providers often say maintaining the 3.0 is fine. As long as you have a 3.0, you're fine. I always challenge students to do a little bit more, because when you look at grad school, and now we're speaking even further out from a high school freshman, from being a high school freshman, grad schools will give you funding and additional opportunities because you had a good or higher GPA in undergraduate. So as an undergraduate, so always maintain at least a 3.5 if possible. If you have lower than the 3.5, work to bring it up. So set your GPA goals and identify your desires for the next 4 years. As a high school freshman, I came into the game knowing like, okay, I want to go to college and play basketball. I want to do well in the classroom, and I want to travel and live outside of my city. I'm from Danville, Virginia. And so I knew I wanted to get out of Danville. I knew I wanted to experience things that were bigger than my city, because I knew there was more to life. I'm grateful for where I come from, but I always wanted more. And so those were my ambitions. Did the basketball dream come true for me? No. I tore my ACL at 14 years old as a high school freshman, and it just disrupted my whole student-athlete journey. So I wasn't able to play ball in college. I didn't play basketball beyond my high school sophomore year because I physically couldn't do it. But I did keep my GPA up, and I did travel outside of my city. I went to school in Southwest Virginia when I'm originally from South Central Virginia. And I've also traveled the world as an undergraduate college student. So there are a lot of opportunities for you, but you have to set your intentions for yourself and be very clear about them and operate accordingly. The next thing I would tell you as a high school freshman is to focus on maintaining a good GPA and building healthy habits. So once you set your intentions, you can set them all day. You can make the commitment, but you have to focus and actually perform to make it come true for you. So set it, say, hey, I'm going to get a 3.5 this semester, and I'm going to continue to maintain that over the course of my high school career. Put that over your bed. Put that on the refrigerator. Put it on your phone. Somewhere you'll see it every day. And just make sure it comes to life for you by putting in the work. And so that means you have to be on top of your grades. You look into Power School or whatever your school uses to allow the students to access their performance in the classroom, the student portal, Naviance, or whatever it is. Go check it. Make sure you're doing well. See how you can improve. Go talk to your teachers, because that's going to help you build healthy habits that will sustain you when you get in college. The last tip I have for high school freshmen is to join an organization that exposes you to other opportunities. For me, that was the Boys and Girls Club. I joined the Boys and Girls Club in my local hometown, BGCDA. Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club to the Danville area. When I was the summer before my 6th grade year, I joined the Boys and Girls Club. And the Boys and Girls Club has 5 pillar focus areas, I believe. It's like arts and creativity. I could be totally wrong with the labels I'm getting ready to give them, but I know they fall into these categories some way or somehow. Arts and creativity, technology, college, finances, and like education. So it's something like that. But because those were their pillar focus areas, everything we did aligned with that in some way, somehow. And so we went on a lot of college tours as a high school freshman, as a middle school student, as a high school student, that helped me choose the college that was best for me. And because I was continually exposed to college and what it looked like, there was no doubt that I could achieve it. Because I said, if I can see it, I believe in my ability to work to go get it, so I know I can achieve it. And I often tell students, work for what you believe you can achieve. If you believe you can be the next rapper, if you believe you can be the next singer or the next innovator or whatever it is you want to become, work to believe it. Work to make it real. Like, don't worry about what other people have to say. They're going to talk about you whether you're doing good or bad. They're going to talk about you anyway. So why not do what you believe feels right for you and do it the best way you know how to do it? So always join forces with someone who has the resources to support you. And that's an organization in your community. It could be a church. It could be the Boys and Girls Club. It could be Big Brothers, Big Sisters. It could be the nonprofit organization in your community that focuses on youth and youth success and youth development. I don't know who it is for you, but find them and join forces with them if it's the right fit for you to help you get to the next level. Oh, I want to give you one more tip too. To build your scholarship list now. As a high school freshman, you have about 3 years before you will prepare yourself to apply for scholarships. There are scholarships available for high school freshmen that you can apply for. I don't know them right off the top of my head, but you can definitely do a Google search and see what comes up for you. See what's available for you to apply for. But you actually can apply for scholarships as a high school freshman, a high school sophomore, high school junior, but most definitely as a high school senior. And so by building your scholarship list now, it gives you the opportunity to prepare in advance. And what does that look like? That typically looks like checking the newspaper sometimes. I know we don't even use the newspaper today, but when I was a high school freshman 4 or 5 years ago, my mom would get the newspaper and cut out the recipients of scholarships in my local community and put that in a notebook for me. And I went back to that when I was actually applying for scholarships and found some that I could apply for. It also it looks like doing a Google search for 5 different scholarships that you think you want to apply for when you, as a high school, that you would be interested in applying for. Like if you enjoy history, then go in there and look for history scholarships and put those in your list. I just saw a comment come in. It says, my grandson is in middle school, and I will share this with him as we continuously tell him his education is your future most important. Yes, Ms. Harrison, yes, it is. I definitely agree. Please share this with him. We also can give you some tips. Feel free to shoot me a text or give me a call at 571-348-3550. Again, that's 571-348-3550. One more time, 571-348-3550. Feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text. I'd be more than happy to help you. But yeah, education is an asset. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is even more powerful. So once you apply the knowledge that you've received, it'll take you further than you could ever imagine. So those are my tips for high school freshmen. I'll go back through them one more time just to make sure everyone has them. The number 1 tip was mature quickly. Mature quickly. Number 2, track your community service. 3, set your goals and identify your desires for the next 4 years. Number 4, focus on maintaining a good GPA and building healthy habits. And number 5, join an organization that exposes you to college. Number 6, build your scholarship list now. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to DM me on Facebook. Comment on this video. I'll get a notification and be able to respond. Whatever's best for you, just let me know. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve as a resource because I know I couldn't have done it alone. I haven't done it alone. And I know people need support. And I know people need help. So as always, I've enjoyed talking to you all. Once again, feel free to shoot me a text at 571-348-3550. And I'll happily help you earn scholarships to go to college and graduate debt-free. I'm going to give it a couple minutes to see if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns before I end this live. But I've enjoyed this series. I've enjoyed talking to parents and families and community leaders, community organizers to see how I can help their students because my community, my village has supported me so much. The village in Danville, my family friends, everyone has poured into me and it's been a pillar of support for me. Virginia Tech, everyone. And so there was no way I could have done it alone. And it's my job to get back to make sure other students have the same opportunity. One thing I will say is that doing this series was very scary for me because 1, I do not like social media. I don't like social media. I don't even get on it that often or use it that often. And number 2, I didn't like the thing of Facebook Live. I do a lot of public speaking. I enjoy public speaking, but the Facebook Live thing is just not something that interests me. So I did it to get out of my comfort zone. I've enjoyed it. I liked it. Hopefully I'll do it again soon. Do I know when? No, but hopefully. I don't want to ramble too much. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to get in contact with me. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'll see you soon.